What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So yesterday, I have to say, I probably got about 10 people send me this story about Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall. The 30 staff members that have been arrested, or they're being charged with staging fights in that juvenile hall. Now, for me, there's two things I think of. One, California Youth Authority. There is no longer a youth authority. I don't know how long they incarcerate these kids in these juvenile halls now that there's no youth authority. But that's one of the first things I thought of was California Youth Authority. And then the other thing I thought of, to a way lesser extent as far as violence, the Corcoran shoe fights that were set up, that were staged, that people were betting on. I could imagine these juvenile hall staff wagering on who's going to win these fights. And the reason why I can imagine it is because that's what these type of people do when they get in these type of jobs. Another thing that I can say, and I'm willing to bet I'm pretty accurate on this, I can imagine that some of the staff that have been charged in this are gang members or former gang members, however they want to identify themselves. And I'll tell you why. I've done a lot of time with dudes from LA who told me that there were staff that were, from barrios, that were from hoods. Also, when I was in the reception center for the California Youth Authority, there were several staff there who were Crips or Bloods, and they would see people, juveniles, from their rival neighborhoods, and they would disrespect them as if they were really gangbanging. So it doesn't take much to become a staff member at juvenile hall. And I think that when you are placing people in positions to supervise troubled youth, at-risk youth, those staff should have some type of training. There should be some type of vetting process, so we know we're dealing with people who are not unstable. There should be background checks to make sure we're not that people aren't being hired that are still actively engaged with the streets. And these fights are not just going to remain innocent. I remember in the California Youth Authority, a dude from my neighborhood, he got rushed by a dude from a rival neighborhood of ours. The guy from my neighborhood was on the toilet, sitting down, using the bathroom. And then Amigo ran in the bathroom and rushed him while he was taking a dump. The dude from my neighborhood got out, caught that guy on the streets, and took his life. He wasn't going to be okay with that guy being able to tell the story that the dude from my neighborhood had to get up and fight with his pants down and shit. So these fights have lasting impacts, man. And I'm sure there's some of them kids in there that probably didn't have it in them to be fighting and were forced to fight, got their asses whooped. And it's an unfortunate thing. How about them staff fight each other? How about we get them in a program where all those staff members have to come out and fight each other every day, and other people wager on those? I'm sure they don't want to do that. They're too grown for that. They're too adult for that. They have families. They're normal people. Then why the hell are you putting these kids through that? I'm sure it was probably one of the kids that told their mom or dad, hey man, I'm going through it in here, man. I'm having to get down all the time. The staff are setting me up. I'm tired of this shit. And whatever led to the investigation, it's none of my business, but I'll say this, man, let them kids do time, man. Try to offer programs. How are you getting kids behind the walls in these juvenile halls? And in this day and age, when there's so much rehabilitation allegedly going on, how are these kids being forced to fight, being encouraged to fight and bust each other up? On the back end of this is the taxpayers are going to take a hit. This is just another situation where the taxpayers are going to have to pay for the stupidity of these stupid 30 people. They're going to get sued, but so is the city and the county. You're going to make a bunch of kids rich. And how many of those kids are going to be able to handle having money? I remember being in the California Youth Authority and getting off, and that was just a part of the program. But I do remember there were weak kids, and they caught the blues. And I'm sure there was a weak kid or two in Los Padrinos who spilled the beans, and who knows what happened to him. I saw kids in the California Youth Authority get punked into becoming punks. They would beat them into becoming punks. I hope that's not the situation in Los Padrinos. I hope that story doesn't come out. The 30 staff members, I'm sure it's more than 30. That's just the 30 that got busted. They ruined their lives. To have kids fight? To encourage kids to fight kids? It's weird, man. But it's not surprising. In my experience in the California prison and jail system, whether it was juvenile or adult, a lot of those who are employed, who are cops, staff, whatever you want to call them, become very sadistic, very, very hateful, very spiteful. And at the same time, they start to talk like those that they're supervising. They get tattoos like us. They start shaving their head like us. It's like they lose who they were when they started. Or if they were already a little bit fucked up in the head, it amplifies it. I think the state needs to come up with some stuff. And this is California. They love making regulations. Better care needs to be taken when it comes to our kids. Even troubled kids need proper care, man. Environments like Los Padrinos create killers. They do. When you go and you know you're going into Gladiator school, that's a badge of honor on a lot of these kids. They brag about it. And I'm sure it's not just Los Padrinos. And I'm sure it's not just in LA County. And it'll come out sooner or later. Hopefully this will bring a change to how juveniles are housed. I just did a video the other day on the 15-year-old that was killed in San Jose, and the 13-year-old can't be locked down. I don't agree. I believe when you break a law, especially when you take a life, you got to go sit down. You got to go sit down and you got to think about it. You got to figure some stuff out. But there needs to be counseling offered to these kids. There needs to be some type of programs. I don't know what it is, and it's not going to be cheap. Music program, sports program, something where they figure out they're good at something other than being bad. Let a kid figure out he's good at something other than being bad, and maybe, just maybe, he'll continue down that path. I don't know. I want to hear in the comment sections what you guys think. That's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out of here.